Assalamu alaikum, everybody. This is Rayhan, and thank you for joining me on to my podcast. Today we've got Noorul Alam.
Nur Alam.
Noor Alam,
Yeah,
sorry, my
sorry.
mistake.
Nur Alam. Sorry.
Noor Alam, and this person here is actually known as the Muslim Cyclist. He's created a organization. He's created waves amongst with BBC and with a lot of people. Even with a person called Chris Boardman,
Yeah, Chris
the three times Olympic champion, is he?
Yes.
World
Tour de France
champion?
champion and Sir as well, Chris Pedro. So we had like a lot of meetings with him, few meetings with him. And
Excellent,
people
yeah.
as well.
So the media and people, all these organizations are recognizing your efforts and the team that you built and the sort of audience that you have, and your YouTube channel is obviously growing. Your Facebook is definitely growing very big, and you create an impact within the cycling community as well, right?
Yeah, 100%. That's right. Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's all Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala's blessings. We started all this, but I think one of the main thing why we started all this, and also other activities that I'm involved with, is just to create. How do we create my generation or the younger generation? How do you give positive message? And that's all. And how to change them really. Put the religious thing on the side, socially, mentally, spiritually, like holistically. How do you? So this is one of the things that we decided to do, because nowadays nobody reads books or reads. I mean, they do, but majority I'm talking about social media. You got TikTok, all this is coming out. So there's positive in everything. So in Islam we say that you take what's good and use it for the mass. So that's the concept behind it, inshallah.
Yeah, man. What did you see that was missing in the youth that you started off?
Yeah. So I think a lot of organizations are involved with it as well. They do a lot of activity like charity shows. They do like camping. There's so much they do. But I think one of the things I'm also involved with a lot of organizations, like I said, like with my own personal organization. I think one of the things that I've seen from my little experience I have in the community, which is people are involved doing activity things, but when they are alone or when they going through certain issues personally, family, either they're married or not married, there is no, you could say, counseling body or organization where they can talk to, especially men, or brothers or sisters. I know there's sisters, that there are a lot of organizations. So that's something that I focus on. I think is kind of missing. And the organization I'm part of, they actually provide solutions tailored for that type of thing.
Right,
So
cool.
and everything that I do around it is just to create the awareness, either it's through cycling, through dawah work, through other means.
Mate, respect, man, respect.
Alhamdulillah.
Because you
So,
guys do a lot of effort for the community.
Alhamdulillah,
Yeah, as well.
right.
I also heard you have a podcast studio as well for
Yeah.
sisters and for brothers. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
this again, it's actually the idea came from our teacher, blessed teacher, Sheikh Ahmad Dabag. So one thing they said, they're very pro giving the platform to, you could say, our sisters, the women's side, because if you look at the masjids, unless it's a purpose-built facility, they have separate, which are like in Cheetah Mill, there's a lot of masjids which they have badminton and everything else, which is fantastic. But majority, if you to look at it like local mosque or house mosque or little centers, very, very rare to give the voice to our sisters or things. So we actually set up, it's in a masjid.
Why is there a little voice in masjids?
So and one of the reason is because I think the platform it's not been given to the ladies or the sister side of things. Because majority, I think, unfortunately, putting Islam to our side, I think culturally, a lot of masjids that are politically involved. So I know I'm hitting a nerve here.
That's
I
a
think
sensitive, yeah.
very, very sensitive.
Sensitive because
Yeah.
where do you draw the line between Islamic and cultural?
That's right.
Where does it all
So
sort
I,
of...
I think one of the reasons which our, let's say, the people who come before us, our fathers, our uncles, and they have done a great platform to give us this
No
platform.
doubt, no
Without
doubt.
no doubt. Unfortunately, obviously they have to work. They work in restaurant takeaways and things. So and in part-time basis, they raise money. They we're in Oldham now, so you got the Oldham Centre Mosque. We have so many different masjids, millions and million pounds going into it. Now they need to do is focus on, like you focus on the next generation. Okay, how do we got the space now? How do we fill it in? There's no point just doing Jummah, Ramadan, and then rest of the week days there's no activity happening. So
Do you think the masjids have a facility to attract the youth?
so in Manchester, where I'm from, because it's very mixed community from different background. There are facilities. They do a lot of like my local mosque. They do like swimming. They do cycling. It's a big thing
Okay.
that I'm involved in as well. In Cheetham Hill, there's another mosque I'm involved with. They do like cycling, camping. They do all sorts, all sorts. They have activities in the masjid. Whereas one thing I've realized, I've traveled everywhere, especially in UK, is if it's certain area, let's say Oldham or Rochdale or Bradford, although there are masjid, but it seems very segregated by different groups. And for some reason they can't come out of this. Hang on a minute, we shouldn't be doing internal fights over whatever tissue, or it should be red or blue. It doesn't matter.
They are fighting over
In a
tissues,
whole
yeah.
close, in a meaning, not literally. I'm just giving an
No,
example.
this is my tissue.
Yeah.
You can't have a tissue.
Yeah,
We want three ply tissue.
Yeah. So and some must don't even have tissue. So where do you go?
You know what? You know what? I have been to a masjid, yeah,
my God.
during Ramadan, and they didn't have tissue, man.
Yeah.
And obviously, first you think like, it's not that big of an issue, but it is, man. It's an issue.
It's a big issue because then how do you what do you call it? Like cleanliness in Islam is very important.
Yeah.
Salah has to be even invalid. Maybe you have doubts. So there's a lot of things. So having said that, I think there are a lot of you could say the older generation have obviously put the foundation down, but that's just a start. There's so much to do.
Yeah.
I think generation to come, future generation like yourself and other brothers, if we like-minded people like yourself, others come together in a platform, put the differences down and work. And I think this is the biggest one way of
Yeah,
doing
man.
it, like
Definitely,
podcast.
definitely. I
Because
100%
I
agree.
believe that before you start anything, you have to have the correct mindset, because Rome wasn't built in a day, like they
course
say.
not.
So once you have the right mindset, once you have the right team of framework, you don't need like 100 people, like 5-6 people. Like you're doing all this on your own, like off the camera. You were saying,
Hold on a minute.
Oh.
On my own, yeah, on my own.
Yeah.
What I need, guys, are people around me. So sponsors, funding, mate. Just. Alright,
he's got a deep pocket, by the way. Just throw it in.
Man, look at that. It's pretty empty.
So alhamdulillah, so definitely we should work with the elders, alhamdulillah, with respect and love.
Yeah.
I
You
would
know,
say.
you know what it is? I think the elders have definitely put the foundation in. Without them, us flourishing in a very, because I've heard stories. You know, what I mean, I've heard stories from elders that they had to fight and protest just to have Eid day off from factories and all these jobs, from warehouses. I used to hear one of my friend's fathers used to travel all the way to Bradford just for barn.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? So the struggle is real, mate. The struggle was real. So we have it easy. We definitely have it easy. But I think also what's needed is that we need to attract the younger generation who don't probably appreciate what our elders have done, and we're losing a generation. That's without a doubt. Now there are some masjids out there who are definitely tackling this issue and they're doing a tremendous job, but there are some masjids out there, without naming a few, who are not tackling. Now that could be many different reasons. It could be because they don't have the facilities, they don't have the funding, because masjids are built on community sort of funding. You know what I mean? They don't have external funding from governments or from Saudi Arabia. You know what I mean?
Yes, they did, but,
So it is community funded. So how do you allocate funds, where and how? You know what I mean?
So they have to balance the
Yeah.
books, because obviously, especially now, the bills are so high. So they have to be like really, really careful how they spend it everywhere. The question that you asked, how can we involve, how do you intermix, let's say, young and the new? So one of the podcasts in my studio that I've started is called Yahya Khan Show. Yahya Khan is obviously from Oldham. He's much more mature than myself. Than myself. So that's to target the Bangla community, because obviously they have a lot of channels. So in the studio he brings guests like you do from the different community, religious guests, politician guests, community activists. Like last one, one of the biggest views that he had was regarding the colder cycling.
I can't remember that.
Yeah, he did with Brother Yahya, and he had like all these local guys come in as well. So it's really
Okay.
good. I think they want to do another one. So that's going really well. Now he's to a stage where, although that's not it, so the reason why we created he's a good friend of mine. He's part of our organization as well.
Yeah.
So one of the intentions behind all this again is the advice by our teacher saying, how do we bring that gap, like the question you asked, and that's one of the things that we suggested came to light. So since we got the studio, so very briefly, so he targets the people who never come to masjid, for example. You know, like because they're busy in their life, you know, they have their own rights. I respect them what they do. But at the end of the day, your salah, your deen is the most priority number one. Or sometimes what happens, it gets cocooned by or overlooked by dunya and the need of the dunya. You get lost sometimes. Even if it's not that, from sometimes happening because you're so demanded by your family, by society, you're forced to have 3 4 jobs. So you kind of go away from the community or the masjid or Islamic gatherings per
Okay.
se.
Now, here's the predicament that I have, right? Is that the youth that are coming to the masjid, right, are the ones that already looking to find some sort of solace and a connection with Allah and masjid and salah and praying and all that things, right? What about those guys who are into crime, violence, drugs? How do we get those guys? How do we attract them guys?
Yeah, so before going to that point, the previous point I was mentioning, you mentioned about the sisters, why we do the sister podcast part of things. So then we have completely separate. So we have like two. So how I done is to have 2 different rooms. So control room is different place, and you have their cameras set everything. So they come, they do their own thing. They have sisters trained now. They do their controlling the switch system, blah blah blah. So they come in and they do like say they're gonna launch very soon. I call the Sister Talks, like a podcast show, where they really talk about their issues, the problems. They do it under different banner at the moment,
Yeah.
and they have their own YouTube channel, completely independent. So they can run 3 4 a week, twice a month, whatever, because it's there. The point is the platform studio is not being utilized, but it's developed myself. It's got all the things, modern camera that you need. They can go in there and they can produce content. And if anybody wants to, like the sister side of things, they want to get involved, they can get in touch. You can pass it to me, so I can pass the deals over to the sisters, and they get like people from sometimes the last one they had sisters like they don't wear hijab, so they talk about the value of hijab and the value of why. Because what they want to do, the whole point of the podcast is it's not coming from a religious perspective. It's about humanistic value and
Yeah.
how to and a holistic way of living. So that starts working, alhamdulillah, inshallah.
I want to ask you, and this reminds me that the because there's a lot of playing around in the community, in the youth, in schools and colleges, right, with the opposite gender, and it's no longer a very cautious, well mannered sort of introduction. It's a very one night stand. It's very not it's not a lovey dovey sort of fairy tale that you see, girl meets boy, boy falls in love and then happy ever after, It's not like that. It's very, very sort of the Western culture has, come into this culture and girls and boys are they're doing it. And without there's no way. They're doing it, yeah. And the stories that I've heard, man. I mean, like, wow, what the hell? Like, boys chasing after girls doing it as well.
And it is unfortunate. It's a reality now.
It's a reality.
I think one of the reasons why that happens is the influence of all these social, especially TikTok. Because one of the things that I was discussing with a friend of mine, he was into like social media and looks at the rates and the mahal of things, and he was saying one of the biggest one that's come to that stage now with the younger ones, because TikTok, what it does, it focuses, especially from where it's focused from China, whatever, is how to if you I'm not sure if you've seen this. If you look at the TikTok rates and content in China, it's very educational.
I've heard
I've seen
that
it
they've
myself.
put all the nice and good, well
Education pros.
yeah, all the stuff towards China,
China.
but all the
Rest.
promiscuity and all these
I mean, one of the things in Islam.
bakwas and nonsense sort of the TikTok towards the
I mean, one of the
Western
biggest
world.
thing about Islam of intimacy and privacy is your own bedroom. It's
Yeah.
very highly valued and respected as a husband and wife, or if you're in your own. But what TikTok or social media has done, notice, is that they have exploited that. So let's say, for example, a girl might be doing something, and she'll say, "Oh, this is funny. Let me make a recording in my I think, pajamas or whatever." But they don't realize the consequences of who's watching this, where it's going out. Means they might be doing it for easy name and fame, but then it has a consequence and effect psychologically, mentally. You might not realize now, but when you get older, it's gonna hunt you down. Then where do you hide your face? Oh my God, why did that for? So
It is gonna catch up to you, innit? Because I don't know who's responsible. Let's say kids between the age of, say, in secondary school, between the age of 11 and 16. whose responsibility is it to monitor what they watch and they're exposed to?
I mean, the biggest one I would say, if I be honest, is the parents, their mom and dad. It's like I'm not this example is not to compare as in human, but if you look at animals, when they have babies, there's a story that once someone told me this. There's certain animals that produce, let's say, babies in multiple numbers,
Right.
10. I don't have to go into the detail which one is, you'll find out. But there are some, they only create cubs, like lion, for example. Now, there's a big difference between the other one and this one. Although the other one is in like hundreds or 50 babies it produces, but lion's cub is a cub. He has certain aurora around it so the point of the story, if I recall it perfectly, they said was, it's not about creating mass or creating so many like having like 10 kids or 5 kids. It's sunnah to have, mashallah. But if you're not going to have the caring control or plan for them. So for example, one of the best way, like somebody advised me
But
as well.
what's missing? What's the
So
problem?
what's the problem they're missing here is the parents themselves, they might have two jobs. They're busy doing their own, or they're busy doing, like for example, whatever the job they are. They don't get focused.
Why if they have to work?
So they have to make a timetable with the kids. I think
We're in tough
I
times,
think-
mate. We're in tough times.
But I honestly believe what we need to, like I try to do anyway, which is, especially you knowing the social media world what's happening, is that you have to invest time in a financial terms.
Sorry, 1 minute. Okay, so we were on about the specific reasons why sexual promiscuity is rampant in our Asian community.
I think because we're looking at an microscopic angle, I don't think it's just our community. I think it's everywhere.
Oh, it's definitely everywhere.
Everywhere. But we
But it
focus
never
on
used to be in
our-
our culture before.
Yeah, so one of the biggest reasons why that's happened. So I'll give you why and then how. So because there's no point talking about and like there's no solution. Of course, the solution for
There's
everything.
always solutions.
So,
why isn't it?
I mean, one of the reasons why obviously social media presence, people are so. For example, before I remember when I was young, if you see a film or see someone couple kissing, it's the biggest sin. It still is a sin. I'm not saying it's. I'm giving thumbs up. It's loud, but it was the dressing approach was different. They were more longer dress. Even they were trousers. They were longer trousers for ladies, for girls. Now it's completely bonkers.
Yeah.
Right.
So
one of the reasons
modesty was applied back in the day, didn't it?
back in the day, now it's lifted.
Because
There still is.
when we were in school, right? Because you're a little older than me,
No,
apparently.
don't say that though. We're same age, bro. Same age.
I thought he was about in his 20s, man. Guys older than me.
Yeah.
Anyway.
55.
No, not that old. 60s. So while we were in school, the rule was in school, right, that your skirt needs to be below your knee. Right?
Yeah.
Anyone above the knee has to go home
Get changed.
and get it changed.
All
You know what
right.
I mean?
Okay. So I think we've identified what the problem is, because also I would say number one biggest influence would be the access to internet, because it's a open kind of worms. You can find anything and everything from good to lower than pig. There's so much filth and so much goodness out there.
If it's not restricted.
It's not. I mean, Islam is very balanced. It's all about controlling your desires. It's
How
all
does
about,
Islam help?
So, for example, how, because there's a lot of barriers. It depends, because what you're asking is a huge question.
You can't just say somebody, Islam says it's haram.
Yeah.
You can't watch it.
So
they're doing it anyway. They already know. So how do you deal with that?
So especially, so I was going to go into that. So you brought it up the question. So one of the courses, let's say my teacher has devised, is how do we? That's the question that we discussed off the camera. Was like the question I was asking you, that people know not to do things. So
But they're doing it.
For example, desire is a thing that is like, for example, if you don't have control or system in place, it'll be chaos.
But who is this for? These guys who are doing these things, guys who know that alcohol is haram and not allowed, they're doing it anyway. Guys who know that gambling is haram, they're doing it anyway. These people know that they're haram, but why are they doing it? They're not seeking any sort of validation or sort of redemption. They're doing it because they like it.
Yeah, the enjoyment, isn't it? So the one that I was listen to one of the lectures, and I can share with you later on. Why are people going, like, let's say, like you mentioned, alcohol, drugs, or youth, whatever age it is, why they're going clubbing, why they're doing good? there is something missing that they haven't found. Even as Muslims, there's something in Islam, and that's called peace. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's name is Salam, which originates from peace. He's the one who gives peace. Peace itself is a creation. It's not something that you seek by sitting in the beach. No, that's called temporary enjoyment.
Right.
It's not continuously enjoyment. So there's a difference. So people do drugs, people do alcohol because they want that escape. They want to feel uplifted. They want to feel like they're in a buzz. They're having a good time. As soon as that 5 minutes, 1 hour, 10 minutes, whatever happened, that's what they call it sober. They puke up, they do all sorts. And in fact, they go even worse.
It doesn't last long.
It doesn't last long. So it's a vicious cycle. It goes round and round. So what they really after is, even Muslims or whoever you are, is peace. So you could be any gender in this. This falls under any gender because the soul, because in Islam what we believe in, as a human being, there are 3 entities in your body. Many people get confused. So you have the physical body, which is you, number 1. The physical flesh that you have. Then you have a desire, lower self, or in Arabic called nafs, which incites to things that are worldly desired. For example, he wants to do things. So there's a very famous story to explain this. Imam al-Ghazali rahmatullah alayhi mentioned this. He goes, a night rider in the back in the days, not the film. The night rider, as in the guy on the horse.
Was the horse called Kit?
No. Later on, maybe it became Kit, like the night riders. That's what we call night riders. But the moral of the story is, so his job is to ride around nighttime, pitch black nighttime, to see any danger, harm coming in. So he's sitting in the horse. He's wearing all black. The horse is black, like tip to toe. So the visibility is hidden in a way. The only thing is there is moonlight.
But when you're in the desert, mate, you're like invisible anyway.
Anyway, so what Imam Ghazali was saying was, so to explain this difference between what is soul, what is nafs, what is it, how do you put it in a picture form? So because I like pictures, so they said the person who's riding the horse is the soul, and the horse is the nafs. So who's in charge? So the rider controls which to go. Unfortunately, in our society today, it's going the other way around. So the nafs, which is called the lower desire, is riding their soul, which is created by pure light, because that's what the soul which gives you the life. That's what's going to go in Jannah. Now there's a third entity, like CEO, water. The third entity is when the soul came into our body, the physical body, a third entity was created, which is called shaitan. Because that's created. Sorry, I got that wrong. I got the formation wrong.
Okay.
You got the shaitan and the soul. So when they came in this body, a third entity created, which is called nafs. Nafs is in between mixture of your earthly desires and whispers from shaitan, the only whispers. So you have 3 bodies, 3 persons inside. So you have you, which is the night rider meant to be riding the horse. Then you have the physical body, which is this body, this physical flesh, like the eyes.
Right.
And then you have whispers from the shaitan.
Okay.
So you have these 3 things. So that's number 1. To first, like I'm saying, you have to have the right correct mindset. So now you have to understand what these 3 things are.
All assuming the people that you approach had the right mindset. But we're not on about the people that were right mindset.
Okay.
They're happy with their drug life, violent life, and gang life, and clubbing life. They're happy with that.
Yeah. So
you can't approach this sort of method with them, can you?
No.
You can't say, listen, come here, friend. What you need, you don't need drugs. You need peace. This is how you turn peace.
No.
Can't do that, can you?
I was not going into that detail first. I was trying to explain, the audience and things.
That's
So
all fine and good
fine.
for people who are seeking
Okay.
some sort of peace. These guys who I'm on about, who I know personally, who I grew up with, you know what I mean? They're not looking for all that.
So one of the questions we ask is, because I go out as well on streets and I meet people, and I like meeting people, not because I'm here to hunt people down.
Of course
Because
not.
it's like we like brotherhood. So it's like saying, if you go to Jannah, what don't you want me to go with you? It'll be boring if you go on your own, nobody goes. It's not selfish thing. Islam is about spreading and doing it collectively. So the point I'm trying to make is, even they go clubbing, one of the question I ask is, how do you enjoy? Because the point was, they only enjoy for a few minutes. And like you said, because mentally they know it's wrong. So that's why you have drug heads, some smack heads on the street, isn't it? So when they say enjoyment, when they say they're happy with it, are they happy though?
They probably eventually might not.
So the question
They'll eventually
is,
realize that I said, I'm not really happy, and this constant clubbing, constant this, constant that, it's not working out.
Yeah.
So they eventually find it, but by then they've already destroyed their life.
Right.
They've already messed up their heads, right?
Right, right.
And they've gone too deep in a hole that is no way of coming back.
Right. So one of the point I was mentioning is once we meet people like that, like you're saying, like I know people like that as well. The only thing we can do is obviously create a nice mahal, brotherhood gathering with them, welcome them into Masjid centers, whatever you are, give them nice food if they're on the street, thing, and explain to them, because it doesn't matter how you're gonna explain it, what you're gonna say. End of the day, we're only here for a certain period of time. Everyone knows this: 50, 60 years, 70 years maximum, whatever. If someone, like you're saying, they're enjoying, once you say to them really, when they're on their own at night, are they really enjoying, or are they just saying I go clubbing because what they're looking for, because they don't know themselves. So what I was saying is, first you have to know what you want, isn't it? If you go to university and you go nightclub and things, and then end of the day the father goes, "What's the degree?" You go, "No, I was enjoying myself. I was in clubs." But even he knows that's not the maqsad of going to university 3 years.
Right.
The ultimate is the objective behind it.
Let me tell you a very small funny story, yeah? Also sad as well at the same time. I know this guy, yeah? And somehow he found that, you know what, I want to find something about Islam, you know. I want to be a little Islamic. I want to pray again now, you know what I mean? Oh, I said, yeah. So he was explaining regarding the love for his prophet and whatever his prophet does, you should copy him and all these things, you know what I mean? So he wore the Punjabi, side vein, no toppies and pagris and all these things, you know what I mean? He's just normal dude, you know, he's just normal dude. When he came to the beard, he won't keep the beard.
Okay.
I said, no, come on, man, you know, beard, man, it's like part of one of the main sunnah of the prophet. Because I can't though, you know why? Because if I keep the beard, people will start respecting me. So I don't deserve that respect.
Right, yeah.
So I just cut it off.
So there's a great wisdom behind this. So clearly, there's principle at play here. First of all, you have to understand the concept why people do these things. We're not governed by what people are going to think, what people are going to say, what they're going to think. It's like there are certain principles. It's like a degree qualification, right? If I take a little kid to a PhD level and he's giving a theory of 2 or 2 is 5, and he's giving his theory behind it because we're in that level to understand. Now, if you take me with you and I don't know anything, I came from planet Mars, I'm going to question him is what's 1? Because I don't know what I don't know your logic. I don't know what ABCD 1 is, isn't it? So what he's explaining in Islam is completely different thing. It's just completely parallel to what he's saying.
Why?
Because in Islam, there's certain acts. So let's make it to another level then. I don't pray namaz because people can call me pious. Where does it stop? Tell me where does it stop? Because if I go to masjid, I'm going to pray namaz. Or I heard this as well. I don't go to namaz because people can call me pious. I want to have a relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala pure, so I pray at home.
So what are they afraid of?
I don't go to masjid because when people are going to see it, they're going to call me a pious guy.
Okay.
Same concept, isn't it? Where does it stop? But so, what Islam does is it breaks all the shutters to be any question a person brings in, even he thinks sophisticated question ever in the world, it could be easily resolved because the certain principle that you do, regardless of feelings of society of yourself, because it's a task assignment that you have to do regardless of how you feel.
Right,
For example, praying salah, you pray not because somebody sees. That comes after. First you do your fiqh, which is like outwardness, that you pray salah in time. You're getting thoughts like you said, if I keep a beard or if I pray salah, same thing. What people will think. You work on the after. That's where another module comes in.
Right.
There's no point having 5 pillars.
Right. So meaning you have to go seek the proper, do it properly.
You have to understand.
Go through the step-by-step process of
Processes.
attaining sort of spiritual enlightenment.
Because even
right?
in Islam, having a beard, like it's not classed as important. Because first thing we have to realize is the holistic living is
not class as important. Please define that.
So what I mean is having a beard 100% is almost a wajib. It's a great sunnah. But someone I'm saying who comes from that drug background, someone completely off the street, right. One of the concepts where we get it wrong, we expose or we impose, I would say rather, everything that I have learned, I have gone through 50 years of my life in 5 minutes to the guy.
So basically, they'll do it in their own time. When he's ready.
But then like for example, I've been to my teacher, for example. It's a personal story. They've never said to me, grow a beard and wear a turban or a jubba. Why do I do it? Think about it. Because you have to lead by example, by morals and values.
I get looks, you know that, because I wear a cup.
That's fine.
I get a lot of looks, you know that. Anyway,
as long as it's not cup.
Doesn't matter.
I'm joking. No,
okay.
The concept here is, let me say the last thing.
Go on.
It's not about what you wear, how you wear, what you do. There's something that we need to really ignite the fire inside, which is called the love of Iman. It's not about because my next man doing it. It's a fashion show. I have to do it. Do you understand? It's something that you have to do internally. It's a holistic of living. You have to look at it from a completely different ball game.
Right. Cool.
Sure.
We're gonna move on from this topic.
Okay, no
I wanna talk to you about an individual who's made a lot of waves in the internet.
Right, right. Okay.
This individual has recently become Muslim.
Oh, mashallah.
He's one of
Alhamdulillah.
our brothers
Alhamdulillah.
called Andrew Tate.
Mashallah. I have come across. I have seen a lot of his videos.
What do you know about him?
First of all, anybody who takes the faith, all these past sins are completely like a zero, like a baby. So whatever a person does, whatever is done is alhamdulillah is pure.
Right.
In fact, there's a saying, his du'as are more accepted than me and you because he's so pure and he's sincere. And
Because
I hope he is.
Muslims believe that whenever a individual becomes a Muslim, no matter what is past, he or her's past, he or her, she or her, blah, 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 past, they become like a newborn baby. Like
100%.
clean slate, no sins,
Metaphorically
nothing,
speaking.
mate, bang on free.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
fresh.
So there's nothing to judge there. And that's what we believe. What I'm on about is his message that he portrays, the things that he talks about, the things that he's trying to teach men, young men. Because a lot of
Like
Muslims,
manhood, you mean?
young, yeah.
What do you mean specific? You have to
He's been accused of misogyny.
Like,
He's been accused of demeaning women. He's been accused of teaching men how to overpower women. Apparently, this is what I've been accused of.
I mean, I haven't, whatever I've seen a little bit here and there, I haven't seen anything like that, number one. Number two, putting Islam to aside, whatever person brings to the table, you have to bring evidence.
Alright?
In a court of law, you have to bring what you call evidence, like proper evidence, not like he said this, he said that. That's like fairy tale. Chinese whispers, they call it. Unless somebody proves something, and then there should be laws. That's why we follow the law of the land, isn't it? There should be like alarms, and there should be.
Do you think young Muslim men should listen to him?
I think if anybody,
Not even just men in general, really.
anyone should anyone, not only Andrew Tate. He just come. There's so many scholars, so many qualified people, or even him.
People don't relate to scholars.
So even if if he gives like
They relate to him.
so if he's giving like positive vibes and changing people's life from like one of them I think I've seen like people are doing drugs like you're mentioning, and he advised them, don't do this, and he followed that path, and he's changed completely, and he gets caught. So if people are changing, it's a good thing. But don't forget, if we don't see, one of the problems that
Let me show you a clip. Oh, I can't do a clip for that.
one of the problems that we have is especially in Islam, what we tend to do is we shouldn't attach ourselves to the person. We should be attached to ourselves to the teaching of what he's saying. It's very distinct.
The reason why he became Muslim, because a lot of his values sort of met and with Islam, meaning his value and Islam values, he really likes the Islamic values because it sort of works with him as well, because this is what he believes.
Discipline he was mentioning.
Yeah, discipline, working hard, women to protect women, to be a man basically, like to provide and protect. You know what I mean? Having the sort of leadership control of the family and obviously so all these things that he was trying to promote. So these sort of do match Islamic values. What people may think is that his method may be questionable, but what he's saying is actually quite good. You know what I mean?
I will go one step further. I don't think it not only values or correlates with Islam, it correlates with the holistic life of a person living. If you put someone in a jungle, no deen, no religion, a time will come, he realizes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala exists. It's in the fitrah. So I won't stop only for Muslim. Anybody follows, they'll come to realize that smoking is wrong, alcohol is wrong, drug is wrong, having 100 women is wrong. There has to be, because human being as a person, look, there's somebody said to me, if you have a massive mansion, this is one of our teacher explained, give an example, there are 100 beds, 1,000 beds. In your lifetime, you will not be sleeping in all the beds. It's impossible.
Right.
Because if you spend one night in one room, and even if you have the bedroom that's the size of this room, as a human person, you're only going to sleep in the side of a corner. If you're 6'2" or if you're 5'2", whatever you are, you're only going to sleep in that corner. So the rest of the thing of people cooked up in the head is all vanity. It's on vanity and it's all these things. I have this, but what we don't focus on is what we have. The chair that I'm sitting on, I can't sit on 100 chairs. I can't drive 100 cars. I can only drive one car. So that's the limit of a human being. That's the limit of an ihsan. When I realized in Hungary, I'm just one person. I might claim to have like million houses, or like that's why you see all these famous people. They have houses, they got dust on them, and they're finding struggling to sell it out because how can I physically be sitting on this sitting next to you? It's impossible. So once you realize I'm minute, and the whole concept of galaxy, I'm so small, and so this arrogance of big headedness of, I'm this. Look, Islam says it beautiful. Look, we come from a dirty water. We live in pure. It's only Islam makes us pure, isn't it? It's the power of the light of Islam makes us good, makes us do akhlaq, makes us do good deeds.
Yeah.
Charity or whatever we do. So once you realize all this, we're not really a big shot. No one's really a big shot. Everyone's gonna go one day.
Yeah, I wish you could give me some points regarding podcast, man, because I had to do all that. But we'll definitely talk later.
Yeah, definitely.
I want to talk to you about what the
How are you saying how I started cycling? You forgot to.
Nah, I'm done with cycling, mate. I'm done with cycling. I had a very bad experience. Anyway,
What happened? Fell off?
no.
Can ride a bike? That's the question.
One of my friends took me for a bike ride. Yeah, one of my friends took me to a bike ride. A friend of mine. So when I say friend, that's a whole long story as well.
Me, myself, and I.
No. Something happened.
Okay.
When you gotta reevaluate yourself and focus on the things that are more important to you. So you gotta let go of some things.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Alhamdulillah.
So anyway, he took me to a bike ride. I thought it'd be okay, half an hour there, half an hour there, a short ride. We'll enjoy ourselves, see some scenery, and come back. Mate, it took me for a 41-mile hike on a bike. I wasn't even trained. I wasn't even prepared. It wasn't even my bike as well. It was a small bike.
This is the same example of what we discussed before. When somebody becomes a Muslim, we give him 40 years of experience, 40 miles of, and then we don't realize, hang on a minute, we have to go way down to nursery level. See, physically you've experienced this. Now
Mate,
you're
it was
haunted.
flipping mental.
When you see a bike, you don't know
41
where.
miles.
When you see a bike, I think you're scared more seeing a ghost. You see a bike, oh my god, because you have got this mindset built.
Yeah.
Similarly, when
It ain't that bad. Don't worry.
yeah, alhamdulillah,
I still completed it. I did it, and I felt very proud.
alhamdulillah.
But what I do want to talk about is the rise of families, single parent homes in the UK.
Very deep question.
Now, there's obviously the it can be debated that the system, this country and in the whole Western world as well, that the system is biased towards women. There's not more facilities for women, not more support for women, but not enough support for men.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And the rise of suicides because it's significantly more than women.
Men, yeah.
Yeah.
affect men.
So the suicide rate in men is about 85%.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And in women it's 15 or something. I can't remember. I'll put the stats up on the screen.
Yeah.
Even though women do get depressed more than men, it's more likely for men to act on the suicide thought. You know what I mean? Our men are also going through that. And the reason why this strikes a nerve to me, right? One of a friend of mine's brother committed suicide. He was a young man about to get married in a week's time, and he was a happy, jolly guy, you know what I mean? And he was found in the bathroom dead. You know what I mean? Years back, we heard of a guy
Do you think
committed
that
suicide.
happened? Do you think, like I was saying that point before, do you think because the link between the father or the mother with the child, there was a break in communication somewhere?
I have no idea.
I'm saying not about this case. I'm saying generally. Do you think because what
There's
boys
so
go
many
through?
different reasons. So many different reasons.
Well, do you think one of the biggest reasons why boys at home, especially teenagers plus when they're becoming men, is they don't really relate to like a friendship relationship with the father or the mother. So they don't really. So for example, I'm thinking about it.
I don't think it's a simple answer as that.
No, I'm saying one
Because
thing.
yes, there is statistical sort of studies regarding why young men right? Young boys and young men fall into depression and have suicidal thoughts. There's no one answer, and there's so many different variables and so many different answers for that, and reasons. Um, but I think the one of the main factor of creating sort of undisciplined, lack of sort of social skills is a son or daughter coming from a single mother a single parent um, family. Now it stems down from a husband and wife. How they all started, how what prior to the because the divorce rate now is rising,
Yeah.
and single parenthood is rising. The traditional values of a family is declining. All these things, you know what I mean? It's just sad to hear.
I mean,
What's your take on that?
I mean, no, 100%. I mean, I see it. You know, it's not a hidden thing. I see it all the time. I think one of the reason we should and there should be counselling out there. There should be
Counseling doesn't
proactively.
work.
No, proactively. Let's
Not
say
with all people anyway.
not counselling in the sense of they come and say, let's say they talk about it. No. I mean like physically creating awareness. Number one about this cause that they can call a number.
Let me tell you. There's a lot of guys I spoke to, right? A lot of people. And I ask, I'm just curious, I'm just a very curious guy by nature. And I've been asking this question for a long time for other people. Does therapy or counseling work for you? As a man, not for women, as a man. Well, it doesn't help. It helps sometimes, but it doesn't really help.
Well,
But the thing is that the one of the things that I ask as well, I have been asking recently because somebody asked me this as well, is that at your lowest, point in life, right? Who would you call or who do you call?
so
The majority of the answers that I've received or seen as well, right? Nobody. A man has nobody he can
if it's
speak
to
to
shame
at his
to
lowest
talk to
point.
someone,
I don't know why.
whatever manhood reason, whatever
Shame,
reason.
nobody cares because we've seen in the media too when a woman cries regarding a sad thing, yeah, oh my god, the whole was, oh my god, what happened. When a man cries for something genuine, he can't saw his daughter or something bad happened, and this is a genuine reason why a man should cry, everybody laughs. Kanye West, the guy from Fast and Furious, the black guy, he was like, obviously, regarding his daughter, where he can't see his daughter, everybody's laughing. So why is this double standardness against men and women?
I think one of the biggest reason is men are seen as the dominant, even though especially the society that we're living in now, although that's changing and there's the rights between pay right, the right between men and women, but generally speaking, throughout the history, men are seen as the breadwinner of the house. So because it's so deep rooted in our minds, hearts, anything that comes with the example that you mentioned, by default you think that this guy is not right. The people
Shouldn't
laugh
that be
at
the
it.
case? Or
That shouldn't be the case.
it shouldn't
So
be the
no,
case.
100%. Because
Why
I'll
not?
give you an example. This is the same example I'll give you.
So it shouldn't be the case where men are protectors and providers.
They should show the emotion.
No.
Is that what you're asking? Or
It shouldn't be the case where men are protectors and providers. Is
no, I'm
that what
saying
you're
they
saying?
should be
Should be what?
protectors of the family, leaders of the family,
Protectors and providers.
100%. If the female provides, it's good. Why is
I
get it-
disagree.
people get it wrong.
That
Hand in hand.
that will emasculate the man.
No. It goes in hand in hand. It depends on a personal level what your relationship is. You cannot say this to
I'm all about
everyone.
the Western culture.
No, even in the Western, you cannot say this to everyone. If a couple, a Muslim or non-Muslim, and they're happy both of them because Islam allows men and women to work.
Oh no,
You know,
that's
there's
fine.
nothing
No,
wrong
that's
with that.
fine.
Now, as an individual case of a person, if a man feels I have to work because I have this pressure that if I don't, people will call me names.
But
That's a different thing. That's a different case.
It's a different case where a woman wants to work, but the husband does not want her to work because he wants to be the fighter. He wants her to come to be at home, look after the house, look after the family, look after his kids.
Right,
That's
okay.
what he wants, but she wants to work.
So, the thing is, if they don't have children at the moment, it depends on it. You cannot say.
Suppose
let's
they
say-
have children.
So, if they're all grown up, they're going to university.
They're not grown
now.
up.
So now, there's a saying. There's a basic principles here at play. If the guy is working, doing taxi, two job, whatever, to support the rent, support the house, support whatever, then she goes, hang on a minute. He goes, honey, I want to work as well. Now, if looking after the children, and that's done in a joint form. If he goes, you know what, I'll do 1 day, you do 2 day, or she gets a part-time job.
Some understanding.
So understand definitely, because
But what's the priority?
this is what I was going to go into.
Is it the job or the family?
Now, if you see, Islam comes in not in the other way. It comes. It's not seen as black and white. It's built on layers. Now, if she really wants to work, what you have to see is she might be mentally depressed, looking at 4 walls day and night because he's busy working. Nobody considers this. Do you understand? So, depending on the counselling or depending on the person,
is that really the case?
Sometimes they're depressed. They might be watching stuff at home, but especially for, trust me, man, especially for ladies at home, they like to talk. When they don't find that attraction, they're meant to be doing with the husband or the friend. When they're secluded at home, 24 hours, cooking or doing something, there's nothing. That's why Islam allows. So one way I would do is, she's feeling this heavily. She really wants to be fine. Get a part-time job. When an issue arises, like I forgot to pick the kid because I work. When there's issues arising, then say, look, now you've worked for a few months. Look, this is what's happening. Let's do this then. Let them get to the full-time schooling. Then you go back to work again.
No, I get it. I get there's always solutions. There's always understanding sort of
100%, but you cannot force, because Islam not based on forcing someone, because Allah, look, Hazrat
forcing someone to do what?
So look, Hazrat Khadija themselves.
I get the story behind it. Forcing to do something to do what?
I'm saying husband. No, there's no force in, generally saying, there's no force in Islam.
What if the husband, who is the leader of the house, does not want the wife to work?
Yeah. Now
he wants his wife to be in the house to look after the children. There's nothing wrong with the woman working. 100% fine. But it's his decision. If he's the leader of the house, he has the final say, right?
Yeah, 100%. But then, as adults, as human beings, look, there's a wisdom here. Is you cannot, like
also.
The reason, let me give you this example.
Doesn't Islam say that a household needs to have an amir?
Even if it's an amir,
who's the amir?
100%. The husband is the amir.
Okay.
But you have to apply everything with They say like with wisdom. I mean, they're very deep. I mean, that on its own is a podcast to go into. We're just jumping here and there. But one of the seriously, what I would say is,
let me put my stance clear. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with a woman working.
100%,
right? 100%. You know what I mean? But I believe that there are certain roles Allah has created men for and women for. You know what I mean? Men are the protectors and providers.
100%.
That's the main primary job of a man.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean? Besides the whole purposeful. Spreading.
As concerned.
In a family sort of environment, the man is the provider and protector. A woman is the nurturer and how to safeguard the house belongings and to upbring children as well, right? Now, if there's enough money coming in and the woman doesn't need to work, and the husband says you don't need to work, why should you go to a job and you be somebody else's employee, and that employee tells you what to do and not to do? That's my right. That's my thing. I want you to be at home where I have you under me and you're safe and secure.
If anything in life, if somebody approaches, it's all about the conduct of the person.
Is it not demeaning for anybody for a job? Have you worked at jobs where you didn't want to work, but you have to work because you need to do your job?
100%,
right? 100%. You do the job. I have as well. Why would you want your wife to be there as well?
Yeah.
To work in Asda, Aldi, and Walmart, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why do you want your wife to be there for?
Yeah. So, like I was saying before, mashallah, it's a very good question, a very deep question. Obviously, it needs a lot of explanation.
Because I believe traditional values, right, are being attacked. I'm gonna say again, nothing wrong, right? In the missus and the wife and everything else, right? Working. Nothing wrong. Get educated, get good jobs, you know what I mean? Be solicited, be lawyers, we need them. We 100% need them. But again, the Western culture, all right, because the liberal mindset is that you do what you want, right, as long as you're not harming anybody. And this is seeping into our culture as well.
No, it already has. I think every question you're asking, it needs thoughtful answer and properly. The first question that you asked, which was about the husband. So there's a rights and rules regarding Islam about your husband, about your wife, vice versa. Then there's rights behind society where you live. the rights between the country that you
Definitely.
live, the rights of haram and
She
halal.
has rights over him. He has rights over her.
100%.
Right?
It's,
You know what I mean?
it works. You cannot say brain is better than the heart. You need to
So
work
again,
together.
what's happening, and you and I know this, right? The Western liberal mindset is coming in. Hence why the what rights are Islam given each other, the wife over the husband, the husband
So-
over the wife, right, is not fully met.
So I think for the social side of thing that you're saying, or the things peeping in.
To begin broken families, innit?
Leave that to our side. What I was saying was, look, in everything, we know, like in everything, there's a rights and wrongs in it. Husband has rights, the wife has rights, the wife has wrongs, the husband has wrongs. So we never look at the wrongs as well.
Right.
So what
Deficiencies,
Islam,
right?
So what Islam comes into it is all about. There's a thing called hikmah, wisdom. It's very, very important, and sometimes we miss this. It's a big thing. For example, what you're explaining is all about the attitude and approach, how you deal with things, anything in life. Either you had an accident, somebody crashed in a car.
But this is a common factor.
So what I'm
that we
explaining
have
is
in broken families now.
yeah, 100%. So unfortunately, it's 100% that's happening. So one of the reasons I'm explaining, look, I'll give you an example. You're a teacher in school. Let's play a prayer role. I'm an assistant teacher in school. You're a teacher in school, right? Okay. There's boys playing with, when you were young, you used to play marble game. I'm not sure if they do or not. And marbles, on the
Back
street.
in the days,
Back in the
we-
days,
yeah,
whatever,
we
in
used
the
to play-
playground or whatever, hockey pocky, whatever they're doing, skips or whatever they're doing, right? Now they're going to a big fight. What did they do? Two gangs. One is like saying, no, it's out my turn.
I'll let him fight.
Little fight. He took my marble, the sparkle one. He took it. From our teacher's perspective, first thing comes to mind, the kids, because we don't see them as adults. Number one, isn't it? So we see them as kids fighting. We say, you go and say, right, mate, break this up. Okay, you take turn. Okay, you start, because that's our human nature of an adult, of a man or woman. But in that case, from the kids' perspective, this is the world. Do you see the difference? They say, no, if you don't get it, either you die or you live.
I don't know
Do you understand the concept I'm coming from?
where you're applying this to.
So I'm going to apply to a husband and wife.
Okay.
Sometimes in a relationship, we act like kids. We don't see as an adult to make sound decision. Sometimes we do it out of you could say arrogance of a man or arrogance of a woman. So we make decision based on feelings. We don't base it on logically thinking properly. So some decision, that's the biggest problem why couples don't work out, because they say, oh, you can't work. She goes, no, I have to work. I have my right. She goes, then the guy goes, I have a right. Then he opens YouTube. He saws all the muftis saying man has a right. Then she opens up. So you get into this entanglement. What Islam does is based on wisdom, that as a household, explanation and understanding each other. That's the fundamental thing.
Do you consider yourself a traditionalist?
100%. I mean, I don't even know what traditionalism and modern is. Why see what Islam gives me? So what Islam gives me is.
So what do you believe as a family?
So in a family relationship, of course, 100%, you have to look at Prophet Islami's lifestyle, because we have to look at example. You look at the companions. You look at the Prophet ﷺ. Look, you said about what do you call? Let's say a man cannot express himself. He starts crying, and people give him bad likes and all this. Because
men are always looked at
down.
very bad.
So let me give you an example.
Feelings.
Let me maybe you'll rejog your memory. Look at Islam. Look, when Prophet Islam's own children passed away, they were crying. Physically, they were crying. When the companion said, "Ya Rasulullah, why are you crying?" They say, "Look, don't I have feeling? Don't I have thoughts?" When they used to kiss their children on the streets of Medina, on the forehead, and show them love, the Arabs, man, it's like an arrogance to this thing. Oh, I have so many kids. I don't know who they are.
Why in the Western culture, right? The Western world, looking at men in a very demeaning way, where if a man does show sensitivity and vulnerability in terms of emotions and feelings, why is he penalized for it?
I think there's hundreds of millions of factors, but I'm coming from, let's say, what I know from an Islamic perspective, because you cannot tackle, there's a saying in it, you cannot, like I was saying before, you can't build Rome in one day.
But what is there to build?
Yeah, so because it's about the concept of mindset of having. So what if you look at, so forget point, because look at the Western world, or like you keep mentioning, that only came in,
We live in the Western world.
I'm saying that only came in 100 years ago, 200 years ago. There's this concept of, now we realize, oh, hang on a minute, men have feelings. They need to express themselves.
The reason why I keep bringing the Western world, because we live in the Western world.
100%.
Fine.
100%.
We're a bit different because we had parents who are very traditional, very
100%.
very who are the migrants from Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, right, or some other country.
Yeah.
We're the first or second or second generation, right? So we have that sort of traditional input and also that modern sort of Western sort of input. You know what I mean? So
Okay,
we have the best
100%.
of both
The balance.
worlds. The balance.
But
But our children don't have that.
Yeah.
We speak
So-
English to them. They
100%.
have that sort of very heavily Western world. They've adopted a whole different culture.
100%.
So
I
how do
understand
they
that.
live? Because what it is that children nowadays have an identity crisis. How do they live in the Western world, upholding Islamic values, upholding the Bengali, Indian, Pakistani culture, or
Whatever,
obviously wherever they're from, and how to be a British citizen?
Yeah, living. I mean, I
It's
get
a
that.
problem.
I've got children. I mean, I mean, I look at things maybe not in such a negative or thinking why. I look at everything as a positive because it's all about the concept and how you.
You can't
bring your
just think
children up.
positive if you
No,
don't
no,
know
no.
what the
What
issue
I'm
is.
saying is, 100%. I understand because I've got children. I understand they've got issues. They're coming to me with the modern issue they have, and I have answers for them.
Yeah.
So, for example,
So
I've
how do you-
built.
how do you
I've
deal with
built,
it?
for example, I've built that relationship. I'm trying to. I'm not saying I'm perfect. Nobody is. That's what,
Who is?
who is. So the point I'm trying to make. Maybe I'm not making it myself clear, or is that a lot of basic foundation. Look, you're talking about the Western world.
How do you deal with
Yeah,
it?
so I'll come to that 1 second. So look, you keep saying Western world. Look, forget the Western world. Forget
We
this.
live in it though. We
No,
live
no,
in
I'm
it.
saying concept
Why forget it?
No, I'm saying, of course, 100%. I'm saying
We're part of the Western world.
what I'm trying to explain is not forgetting the sense like I live in the jungle. Not in that sense. I'm saying, look, I got certain now. I'm obviously adult. I've got children. You have children. There's certain things culturally, or my parents, your parents, brought us here.
Yeah.
But ultimately, what I find solace, what I find the real answer is in Deen, not in culture. Not because I'm Bengali or Pakistani. Not all, because do you have it with the right hand? Do you do this? Because there's a lot of things are mixed. When you look at the pureness of Islam, all these questions you're saying 1400 years, all been answered.
Okay.
It's just that we don't
How
look
do
into
you
it. Now,
how do you adopt
So-
the answer that you have from Islam?
Yeah.
How do you adopt
So
that now?
practically,
How do you
for
handle
example, I'll
it?
give you a practical example. Like
Go for it, mate.
For example, my son came back. This is 4 or 5 years ago in nursery. He came back. He goes. He saw Jesus, and they're teaching, in school, and he saw the name of Jesus. So first, obviously, I go through Islamic lessons at home as well. So it's about bringing the balance. So a lot of people say, "Oh, astaghfirullah, you can't say all this." You get it. It's about the wisdom, akhlaq. It's not akhlaq. Sorry, what's the wisdom in Arabic? Yeah, I forgot, it's not come to me.
Hikmat.
Hikmat, sorry, yes. Now, he's come to me and he's saying, "Oh, Dad, they talk about Jesus." I said, yeah, you should know about. First of all, I said, you should know about prophets. You should know about other cultures. You should respect them. But what we do in Islam, we call them, even if you say Isa or Jesus, so we say peace and blessing upon him because we say this is our prophet. Then next day he went and he said to his teacher, "Look, this is what he said." And then he found Isa. He goes, "Oh, Isa died in cross." Next day he came back to me, and next day he said, he told his mom first. Mom said, "Speak to your dad about it." So we were playing games. We were playing PS4 or whatever at home, and he goes, "Dad, conversation has started." And he goes, "Oh, my teacher's right." Because obviously they believe teacher. I said, "Look, 100% your teacher's right. From their perspective, that Jesus died in the cross." They're gone off.
Let me
Just
just.
check.
Oh, it should be okay. But let me go check it a bit.
Yeah.
It's been 11 minutes. It's fine.
Yeah. So one thing I explained to him was, for example, yes. So he goes, "Oh, Dad, you're wrong because my teacher said he died in. I've seen in a book because the children they don't understand. He goes, "I've seen him. He died in a cross." I said, "Yes, from their books or from their teaching from a Christian perspective, this is what they believe and respect them what they believe in. We as Muslims, this is like it says in Hadith. This is what it says, and we believe that no prophets that die like this. They're all pure and nature and thing." And then he understood. He goes, "Look, this is our belief as Muslims."
So then when
he
you
went
went
back,
nursery, that's
Yeah.
nursery.
So-
Let's take it to a secondary school
Yeah,
level,
so now-
where he's exposed to all these different
so
sort of
even
cultures.
for example, now
Girls
let's-
wearing miniskirts.
Yeah, whatever.
He's looking at stuff that he's not meant to look.
That's right.
He's all exposed to it.
Yeah.
How do you handle that?
So then, look, I was gonna say this website to you as well. So look, there's a saying, there's a saying that one brother told me once, very good advice. He said, it's better to let them naturally experience life than, no, not naturally in the sense of like go through everything, meaning,
Go for it.
no,
Go and enjoy.
I'm not saying go to enjoy. I'm saying, but make sure the relationship you have, make sure that they understand you what you explain to them. They understand. You see, what we normally do is, for example, we say, don't do this. We say this anyway. Don't have girlfriend. It's completely haram in Islam. So he, for example, he'll say, Dad, why can't I have a girlfriend? I'm not saying he said this. As a hadith, I have answers for this because we find in Islam. So look, if the Western society say it's not. First of all, if you look at the morality of this country that we live in, the Western world, it's not even allowed in Christianity. If you look at the royal family, they're not allowed to have, but on books, they're not meant to have sex before married. They don't. It's, even now, if you go in, they're not allowed to. But it happens.
But they do it.
But
But
practically
thing is,
speaking,
Muslims,
so then in Islam,
Asians, Western material,
whatever
right,
they do it, I'm saying you asked
they're
me.
doing it in school.
Yeah, so
they're underage kids
Yeah,
who
so
are
what I'm
having
saying
sex out of wedlock.
I mean, it's happening. Unfortunately, happening. So I'm saying. So you asked the question.
Your boy
how,
or your girl is going to be
whatever.
exposed to all these stories.
100%. So then, what I want. The thing is, the wisdom here is, why I want my kids to be at level. Understanding that I trust them, what they say to me, what they do.
You can't trust kids. Come
No,
on.
listen to me. What I'm saying. Not about trusting what they say. If you believe me, if you build in a relationship from day one, that they tell you everything what's happening. They say, look, Dad, this is what the guy said. This is what the girl said to me. Said, oh, I want to kiss you, for example. How do I react to this? So I say, look, it's a natural feeling and Islam gives you. Because why is sometimes as fathers and mothers, we don't express what. Okay, let me give you another example. Isn't it better that you explain about LGBT, sex, boyfriend, as you as a teacher to your kids than he learns it from school from his friends? Which
No,
would you prefer?
you definitely explain it at home.
But one thing is called explaining like textbook. One is explaining as a friend level. You
Right.
understand? One is explaining the wisdom, where it says, because they're living in the society. It doesn't matter you live in a box world. As soon as there's the moments, the Christian faith, they excel them. There's like a lot of stories in YouTube you can see. What they do, they go and lock themselves off. So
I wouldn't use them as an example because they have some very weird ways of dealing with things.
No. I'm saying whatever they do, I'm saying as an example overall. For example, even in Islamically, there are a lot of people that they send them off to Madrasa, say, he's going to become dubious, something going to happen to him. I'm actually the opposite. What we saw, this course our teachers devised is called the prophetic part.co.uk. What this does is, it doesn't matter which society.
You don't agree with madrasa?
Sorry?
You don't agree with madrasa teachings?
100%.
You don't agree with it?
No, I agree with it.
Oh, sorry.
I'm not saying I don't. I'm
Just want to be
saying,
clear there.
understanding what I'm trying to say is, what I'm saying is the concept of people have.
I'm sure
in
not all
mind.
parents just send their kids to thingy.
Most
You
people
just do
send
that
because
just
they
because
can't
they're
handle
too
him.
bad.
He's become a druggie or less than the madrasa. Unfortunately, what they send him with.
Is that most cases or is that some
100%.
cases?
No, because what they
Do
say.
you think it's most cases?
I would say most. Do you know why? Because they'll say, oh, he's I can't control him. Let me send him to madrasa. He'll become alim. So you
Alright.
send him on the wrong foot already. You send him on a negative. He should be sending first, not because he's done all the damage. Now he sent to madrasa or he'll get some beats and he'll change. That's not going to change him. The stories that I know, like our teachers that deal with that, they become gangsters of the street. They come to he goes, give me a tabiz, give me this. My son goes, then my teacher goes, where were you when he was 5? You were busy making 5 figures. You didn't care about your kid. They're watching whatever, B4U, whatever with his mother or his cousins.
I thought B4U. How old are you, man?
I don't know what that B4U
That's a long time ago.
Why is B4U?
Does that even work?
I don't know what that is.
I've not watched
I just
TV
picked
in
it
a
up
long
from-
time, man.
Picked it up from friends. They say.
B4U, oh my god, I've not heard that in ages.
I think it's like an Asian channel thing.
It is, yeah.
Whatever that is.
Some
So,
Bollywood thing, yeah.
whatever. But the concept is, it's about the upbringing it comes down to. Because it doesn't matter what excuse people give me. He's become this because madrasa didn't teach him, or this society didn't sort him out, or this Western culture. Forget all this. If I'm responsible for my kid, it's
It
my
starts from home.
responsibility.
That's what I'm
100%.
saying. It starts from home. I
And
100% agree
one
with
thing
that.
I'll add to this is not only start from home. You have to be the teacher, the father, the friend, the person who they tell their secrets to you, the person who monitors them. At the same time, they realize when they do something wrong that they know, not because you're going to hit them, because they know you're going to get upset. There's a difference. One is hitting with a stick, and then I'm going to go in my room. Then he hits me again, I go to my room. That's wrong way of doing things.
Can't do that anymore, honey.
Even in the past, you shouldn't be, because the relationship between you should have is purely out of love. You should love your children. Another reason you said about depression
Did
and all
you get
this.
beaten up when you were a kid?
Eh?
Did
Never.
you get beaten up? Never got beaten
Never.
up?
100%.
Seriously?
But my dad, no one.
Mate, the butt whooping I got when I was a kid, man.
Because why is it's the
But the
concept.
thing is, yeah, I needed it.
Yeah?
I definitely needed it.
Some obviously.
Without the butt whooping, yeah, I would have been a whole different guy.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I was lucky. I never did. I mean, I got shouts and
So you were a very good boy, yeah.
You know, I wasn't very. I used to climb buildings. I used to do all sorts when I was a youngster. You know, I was a very energetic person. Okay, enough. You know, I don't like talking about personalities and things.
That's fine, don't worry about
The
it,
main
don't worry
thing is about how do you change? Like this, that's the question, isn't it? First, you have to first of all I have to change myself. I'm still trying.
It's
Not
not with
perfect.
yourself, and then you sort of.
So one of the
family.
biggest things missing, like the solution I would say in society, even the young parents that have, don't create this so-called fake Islamic attitude at home that when I'm in masjid, I wear the thobe. At home, I'm doing all sorts. I'm doing fraud. I'm putting benzene next to a neighbor because kids pick things up. I'm signing wrong, dodging in signals. Or I said to my son, I'm going to Hajj. I'm on benefits, and that he knows, the son knows, and I say, I'm on sick, I'm spiritually ill. He will come with daft excuses.
Well, thing is, yeah.
But the kids, you see, they pick it up.
Isn't that a blanket statement?
But most people, what they do is,
Are you painting the same brush with everybody?
no, I don't think so. But I'm seeing a practical solution. What happened is, you ask the question, why do kids mess up? It's because
No, that's not my last. How do we save our children from an environment where they're
Because-
exposed to so many things? In school, people are having sex out of wedlock.
Right, yeah.
You want your best for your kid. You want to protect your
And
kid.
everybody
How do
wants
you
best
do
for
that
kids.
in an environment where that's because if you're gonna send your kid to a school that's what's happening, one day or another, something's gonna happen. It may not as far as having sex, but he'll
100%.
definitely be thinking about it. He'll be pondering about it. He'll be having these temptations and desires and saying he may for so long have the strength to not act on his desires,
100%.
but he's in that environment. You're testing him to the massive limit.
100%. I mean, one of the biggest solution it boils down to is, look, as adults, as we talk now,
As parents,
as parents, as adults, as a grown man,
Yep.
and women out there who listen to this in the future, is that look, we invest, especially men. I'm talking about because we're the breadwinner. That's because you're saying we spend out of 24 hours after doing salah, the basic things, how to make money, how to make rizq, how to do this how to do this, how to make more money, because end of the day your family, you think your family will benefit. You know, they live a good life,
Yeah.
for example. But we never think that how do we invest our time and energy to our kids? There's nothing.
that's what I was trying to get at.
So I'm saying
Because-
we don't. I'm
Yeah.
saying as parents, we don't see it as a business opportunity to our kids. We see it as, oh, I've got 10 kids, man. It's like, what the heck? What you call again? We have this very, very naive and negative attitude because we think naturally, oh, he'll become good. You know, because we physically don't sit with them, ask questions. You know, we don't have, I mean, if you think about it, if you do a statistics, how many hours do parents as a father spend with his kid on a weekend playing football or talking about real issues like what's been going on in school? How many do it? I mean, I'll be a fault of that. I'll try my best to do it. I try every weekend when I to go
Not
here and
everybody
there.
can do it.
But not everybody can. But
They have to
why?
work a 9 to 5, and not
The thing
every
is-
man is working a 9 to 5 job.
But what I'm saying is the thing is, once it's about the mindset. If you want to be a billionaire, you'll go out there, do it. Doesn't matter, work 2 a.m.
Your risk
people
is
do it.
fixed.
No, I'm saying, I'm not talking about spiritual, I'm talking about worldly terms. If somebody wants to do a business, you'll see they'll spend like weekend. I know my friends that, like, for example, Steve Jobs. I'll give you a biggest example. One of the biggest reasons why talking about iPhone became you could say the bomb in the social media, or sorry, in the phone world.
It was a very
Game changer.
revolutionary sort
Yeah.
of
Did you know?
phone. Yeah,
Did you know this? This didn't happen having a 9 to 5 job and spending time with kids. He made a lot of sacrifices. Maybe too extreme. It's not possible. Did you know he used to him 5 guys? They used to lock themselves in a unit. Obviously, they had food and everything for 6 months. No communication with family. It's in his bio. To come with the next big thing, focusing all the life energy for what? What has that got to do with now? You get
changed
it?
the world though.
No. I'm
He
saying.
changed the world.
I'm saying personally, he's not benefiting, isn't he? I'm saying, look, the time that
But
he.
that was a sacrifice that
But
he was willing to make.
Listen to that. Try to understand what I'm trying to say. Innit? We're talking about values.
I'm trying to understand.
Listen, but
I'm trying to understand.
keep asking. Let's listen for a few minutes. Look, he did this to change the world. but he had family breaks. Do you see the concept I'm coming from?
He made a huge sacrifice.
100%. But thing is, then out of that, but he himself was going through problems. I'm not saying everyone does because this is open now in his bio. He had different women, he had different children. I'm saying as a family unit, that got broken up because his concept is that's what I'm trying to get to you. Is his focus energy was not on his family and scale, it was something else. He's trying to create some next level thing for the world, but he himself is depressed and at home. So that's what I'm saying. As parents,
So, in order
We
to
don't
maintain a
focus.
family, you can't pursue a billionaire career.
no, become a trillionaire. I'm not saying not to, but I'm saying at the same time, the same energy with your kids. That's what I'm saying. And you can't do it. That's not an excuse to say, oh, I don't have time, I don't have time. It's possible because it's all about the mindset. Once you put the same energy, same
Well,
effort,
I get it. I get it. Let me just change the camera, yeah?
well, that is
point is,
another podcast.
not every man is
Or
built
woman.
to make has the passion or the ambition to make £1 million.
Okay,
All he
100%.
wants to do is work, 9 to 5 job,
Right.
come home, enjoy his time, tell his and enjoy his family life.
100%.
But not all man has, not because especially in this climate, right,
Yeah, we live in
where
it.
you have to have 2 jobs
100%.
to maintain a family,
100%.
bills, mortgages,
high.
flipping rent, council tax.
But I always say this
everything.
to others when I hear this, like, you know, I'm not perfect, no one's perfect. When brothers or sisters, when I talk, because I talk to a lot of people like you as well, when they say this, I said, the simple solution is don't make your work life, social life, an excuse not to give time to your children.
Okay.
Think about it.
Going
It's very
back
deep.
now, going back to the point that
Or don't have kids then. If you're gonna be like this, don't have kids. I'm being honestly, think about it. Why have kids and then say I don't have time for him? Think about it. It's like I'm not saying. Let me example. Look, why have? It's better to have one kitten than have 10 kittens and say I can't. I have to buy this. After oh my god, I need food or food. Don't have 10. Have one. Do you understand? If you live in the West, like you're saying, you got 10 jobs, you got this problem, society problem. I'm going through mental problem. Why the hell do you have a kid for? It's not fault to have a kid.
seriously.
Why? It's not fault. It's sunnah to have children. Sunnah to provide. I'm saying if you as a man, a serious question, if you know that you can't give time to kids, you can just about give time to a few hours to your wife. I'm busy making money. I'm making career. I'm doing this. I don't have time for kids. I don't have passion for kids. Why have kids? Think about it.
But again, you're generalizing the whole public
But think
as
of-
if they don't like their own kids.
No. I'm
There's
saying
men out there who adore their kids.
100%.
They work shitty jobs because they love their family.
But I'm telling you, if you ask them, why, if they love the kids, why do they not spend time? Because the question you said about social, the Western world. Look, I always go back to not the culture. Look at the Islam. Look what Hazrat Ali mentioned. Because the first 3 years of when you have a boy or girl, I'm not sure if you know this. First 3 years when it becomes up to 3 is or up to 4, don't say anything about Islam, about Salah, about I'm doing zikr. You do you or your couple, your husband and wife, you pray in the same room, you do your zikr in the same room, you do your Quran in the same room, whatever you do, ibadah, whatever, in the same room, where the kid is in the same room. If you don't have 2 rooms, whatever. The first principle is you building strong body relationship, sound relationship with your child without saying anything. Look at personal life story. He didn't preach anything to about Islam. He built character, honesty in the society before Islam came in. They trusted their life, not their own brother. Because he genuinely said, if you believe me, you leave your whole thing with you, isn't it? Now, that's the first. Second thing is, when you become 5 and 6, give them a bit of tarbiyat, not 100%. Still don't teach them, you have to be a Quran Hafiz by the age of 8. This is Quran concept. This is following this concept of, my boy is a Hafiz, let's compete in another family. Forget this, every family is unique, different. So between 5 and 6, you still bonding, but you give him a practical life example from your own example. He'll see you, he hears you, he sees you, how you deal with your wife, why you guys discuss. He sees all this.
Well, I get that.
Get to 7. When it becomes, as soon as it becomes 7 up to 10, slowly, you start giving tarbiyah. This is what Imam Hazrat Ali mentioned.
These sort of teachings
Teaching 100%.
are taught and said in mosques.
No, I'm
nearly
saying-
on a daily basis, right?
No, I'm not. Forget the mosque
These
side.
things are not very new, are they? They're quite
No, but
old,
thing is,
right?
that's what the breakdown is. Look, as parents, we educationalized our brain. We think 2 hours in a masjid is gonna fix my kid. That's impossible.
Of course not.
The kid that I go up.
But isn't that the better alternative? Because in America, they have a system where they have Islamic studies classes only in the weekend. They don't do it in the weekdays. We have, fortunately, we create a system where we have schooling for 6 hours,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then we have the maktab, the whole
2 hours.
Islamic evening madrasa thing for 2 hours in the evening. That's 5 days compared to 2 days.
100%.
But and statistically speaking, the system that we have is more fruitful than the system in America. But
I have institute imams that they do this
how
as
much
well.
how much can you add on top of that?
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, look, I think I'm coming across not clear. I'm not saying teach them. There's a two different thing of amal
But
and knowledge.
what does maktab do then?
Yeah. So if you send your kids to madrasa, you send your kids. Like I send my boys as
To
well.
mosque, yeah, to mosque.
to the masjid. They're learning the physical letters of Arabic,
Right.
how to pronounce it, how to recite it, but they're not teaching the morals, how to apply it.
Is it their job?
It's not a job.
Right.
It's me and you
So
job.
whose job is
But
it?
the concept,
Parents' job, right?
100%.
Okay.
So the concept what I'm trying to say is now, as young parents, automatically they think I'm going to send him for 2 hours and he's become
Fixed, yeah.
fixed. There's no fixed tablet. There's no red and yellow. There's no blue and red tablet that is automatically. Nothing happens automatically. We have to get that out of head. Look, that's what I'm coming back to. We spend so much time for dunya, isn't it? For our children, but we don't spend time for our children for dunya. Think about what I'm saying. We spend time and energy for our kids, but we don't spend time and energy for our kids for dunya.
Okay.
That's a tongue twister. Think about it. It's deep, isn't it? Because we say, oh, every time I speak to someone, they say, oh, I'm doing it for my kids. I've got five houses because 5 boys. Old school. He's gonna have a house. We all gonna have a happy family. Never happened. One kid might die. How do you know 5 houses? So we spend we dream about it. We fantasize about it. He's gonna have this wife, this is gonna happen. Nothing's gonna happen. It's in the hands of Allah, isn't it? Your job is to bring him to this dunya, give him the moral, the ethical understanding of Islam, the ethical from a love perspective, not beating kids. See, this is what's going wrong. We send our kids to madrasa, but we're not teaching the value of Islam at home. Because I'm saying F&B, I'm not saying about generally. I'm saying F&B on the phone. But when I go masjid, mashallah, brother, how are you? But my son sees me completely different. I'm like a little devil at home. I'm saying, hey, do this, hoover this, hoover this.
Meaning,
You understand?
whatever you mean, who you are at home and who you are outside should be the same.
They're saying there should be no two face, should be one face.
be the
Either
same,
I'm a
yeah.
sinner, I should be everywhere same. You shouldn't hide it. One of the
You shouldn't
things Islam-
pretend to be
you should
Islamic.
never pretend.
You should
Look,
be
one of the things about great
be striving towards a better.
100%. One of the biggest
bettering
things that
yourself.
Islam hates, in a way, it's a big word it hate is that when there's two face. That's why munafiqun comes in. Hypocrite is they have two faces in it. One is mashallah subhanallah at home, all the thing happening behind the scene, isn't it?
Right.
And biggest thing, and that's one of the things that as parents that we should really think deeply that should we have a kid? If we do, we have to think of a business. 'Cause a lot of people, when I explain, they don't get it. So when you say the business concept, you have to invest time for your children, not in teaching.
You believe if you are not equipped to handle kids, you should not have kids.
No. You should have kids because it's sunnah.
But how do you know if they're ready to have kids, and what if they fail?
No, the thing is, that's why I'm gonna.
Because you said they shouldn't have kids,
No, I'm only saying it when they have so many kids and when they become.
but they've already had the kids.
No, I'm saying that example I was using when they got messed up, they go to the institute, they blame the institute, they blame the imam and the masjid. Or
What's your answer there?
so I'm saying
you shouldn't have kids.
No, there's a saying in it: don't throw the baby with the bathwater. There's an example. Do you understand the concept?
Right,
in it?
yeah.
That's the example coming from in it. You've done the damage. Now you blame the society.
He's not blaming society.
Because meaning that's what happened. He blamed the imam saying, "Give me tamis, give me this, give me that." Because
Who's blaming the imam?
no, because most of this that I've dealt with Casey, they say my son's gone drug. Give me something so I can change him. What I'm saying is practically. When he was growing up, where were you then?
I know a lot of good families, right? Good,
100%.
good families who are very pious or very good, who try to instill a lot of values in their children, right? But they gotta work too. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
I'll give you another
Let
example.
me just finish. But they're going to school. they can't afford private. They can't afford just boys' school or just girls' school. Girls are doing stuff because they're involved in that environment. Boys are doing stuff. They fall in love.
It
Now
happens. It's a natural
you,
thing.
you can't control the heart, can you?
It's a
Once
natural
you fall in
feeling.
love, you fall in love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they act on that love. You know what I mean? And they start doing things. So no matter what you do, yes, I know a lot of people. You know a lot of people who come from very good families who try to instill them good values,
Happens.
but boys and girls are still doing stuff.
But remember,
So you can't. So then you can't say you shouldn't have kids. Then
no. I was just saying those. I think I come like I say. I'm coming
so
from.
what? So what should he or her do?
Also remember, look at the prophets.
Because
children are test for
In
number
school,
one. Children are
in
test,
school,
isn't it?
that's the mahal. That's the environment. They're gonna be stuck in the environment.
100%.
You know what I mean?
So I'm saying, look, school.
It's hard. It's very hard to protect their mind
Yeah.
and to keep them
Occupied.
to refrain them from that exposure.
Yeah. Look, I know alternative. Let's look at another angle. I know a family, that like you said, like scholarly family, respecting the community, blah blah. So the mahal they have created in the kids, they've got mashallah a lot of kids, boys and girls. The trust level and the mahal they created, the tarbiyah they brought up from a young age, because it's all about the tarbiyah. There's no point when there's someone's 14, then you think, hang on a minute, just because he or she's been found out in society, they've done some damage. Now, all of a sudden, as a parent, I've woken up from my sleep.
But not everybody's a scholar, though, innit?
No, listen. But thing is, you don't have to be a scholar to give moral teachings about, like
You're
being
giving an
normal.
example of a scholar, though.
No, I'm saying there's two different things. So, if somebody wakes up and says they're going through these issues, and it happens in school, it's a reality check. It's not something that's hidden. So if somebody comes up to you or to a normal person, look, this is I'm going through society. My children are doing this. My boys going to here. This happened. You get it? If they've done this at the beginning stages rightly, they had that relationship. For example, so one could ask them, okay, when did you find out? Biggest question I'll ask them, when did you find out? He goes, oh, I found out on social media. That's a red flag for me, because the children don't trust the parents. There's something happened. Psychology, as a mahal, as a unit, think about it.
But we can't create the perfect family, can we?
No, nobody can.
Not all families are gonna be perfect.
But,
We live in a reality where
100%.
we have a different sort of mentality, different individualism sort of within liberalism, conservative sort of mentality as well. We have different people from different backgrounds and different mindsets. We can't apply
One
the
idea to
perfect
everyone.
ideology to
can't.
every family, can we?
No. So no family is perfect. Nothing's perfect. So when someone's going, so there's two levels. One is I was explaining how to bring a child up from my Islamic. No, I'm saying I have perfect example. I'm talking about look at the companions, look at the example Imam Ali. Like that's
I get
one.
you.
Second
There's
thing,
a
like you
lot of
mentioned,
examples,
for example,
of what to follow and how to do things.
Yeah.
But we are dealing with the mango people.
Yeah.
We are dealing with the what are you, man? The average folk,
Yeah.
right?
So-
The average folk who just got a job and who just want to live a halal life.
So
you know what I mean?
look, I'm a very average person.
He's not actually seeking any sort of high wisdom. A simple
No.
dude doing a simple job.
Let's rephrase the question. I'm the most simplest and average
No,
person
you're
in the world.
not. No,
100%, I'm being honest.
No, you're not.
I am. Listen.
Don't do yourself that much, man.
No, listen.
That's going beyond humble. That's going to do towards pride. You want me to say, oh, you're not it. That's what you.
Whatever you believe, mashallah, you have your opinion.
I know you.
I know who I am.
You have a very mashallah, may Allah keep you safe and secure. But you have Allah has put you in and surrounded you with a lot of good people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So I'm trying to say, look, like I'll go back to I'm a normal guy. I live in a normal house, a normal job. I have an IT job. I'm not a scholar. I'm not alim. So I relate. I genuinely relate to public. I play football. I do cycling. I do all sorts of. I see everything. It's not that I came from planet Mars. That I was born yesterday. I don't know. Someone said, brother, my son got into girlfriend. I said, what's a girlfriend? I'm a human being. I relate to these real issues. But the point I'm trying is there is solution for everything. So, for example, if this has happened and biggest chain, I'm talking about the breakup what happened. So when for example, someone actually, I had a discussion. This was happened like a recent incident. So I said, look, I'm like you as a parent. I have concern for your kids. You have concern, obviously, for my kids. When it was that you found out a certain incident happened, he goes, oh, I'm busy. I'm doing this. I found out from my wife, and she found it on a social media post. She actually seen the fitna going on. So it's the first question I said, "Well, how you like with your children? Like, what? Because every relationship is different. Do they talk to you?" He goes, "No." He goes, "As soon as he comes home, he goes to his room. He plays game 24 hours. He doesn't talk to me. I get depressed. Why doesn't he talk to me?" Because then I said, "Look, because there's no point listening to a fobs. There's no point listening to a story. You have to have Islamic. You have to have positive. You have to have solution, isn't it? You have to move forward. You have to go one step ladder, isn't it? There's no point saying, "MashaAllah, what can we make dua? Okay, Allah change." We're not this sobby type of like worldly religious people. You have to find modern example. So you have to. No, I'm not saying negatively, positively scrutinize. Something you have to do a reality check. That's what I'm looking for. Look, he goes, "Oh, I work. I know. Then I play cricket in my cricket club. Weekend, my weekend's busy." I'll explain what do you do? He goes, "I work 9 to 5. I play cricket. My cricket boys. Weekend, that's gone busy. I go to meetings. He's been involved with public, like community active, whatever he does." He goes. "So out of the 24 hours and 7 days a week, how many hours do you think have you spent?" Not the thing is, I'm coming from is not educationally, like read this. No, meaning proper banter time, like a proper bonding time with
A
children.
father, son, daughter moment.
Whatever. How many times have you gone on a date? How many times have you take your kids for a date? He goes, "Well, I've done it for a month." Think about it. So, because sometimes we get trapped. We think my boy's all right. They're innocent. As a parent, sorry, as a parent, everybody thinks their kids are angels, but they're not. Reality is they're not, because every kid, as soon as they're born, they've got their own mind, their own heart, their own way of thinking. We don't have this belief that they're born on sin. They, like, for example, the Christian believe. We don't believe it. We say, well, as soon as they're born, his destiny is destined by Allah, how he's going to be. I can only guide him up to a certain age. So then when he realized this, when we did that one-to-one discussion as a real man-to-man of coffee and thinking chaiwala, I'm not praising chaiwala though, but we were there anyway. He goes, "You know what, brother, I've realized it's me. I'm the problem. I know it's 15 now. I know first you have to realize where it's first, like you mentioned, you have to realize where it's going wrong first before you can find a solution."
I agree.
There's no point.
In order to safeguard your son or daughter, you have to spend the time early age.
You have to invest
to make sure that you imprint
100%,
yourself
100%.
onto them. The trust, the friendship, and the bond that you have with the son and daughter
100%.
happens at a young age, not afterwards.
So look, I'll tell you another thing, a taboo subject. Maybe look about the LGBT community thing. It's in a school. It's in a society. Like my son will come. Like the other day, he came by. He goes, he goes. My teacher said it's okay to have a father, like a two men. So I said to him, "No, it's okay to have two moms." He goes, "Huh?" He goes, "That's right. I'm the father. You can have two moms." Nobody thinks about it, do they? But on a serious note.
Right, mate. See ya. I'll go get my daughter to see my wife now.
But on a serious note, this will be a clip where I'm saying, look, as a human being, Islam is very clear. We respect whatever they believe, whatever they do in the home, whatever they preach. But also at the same time, I have my own rights. Look, if a lesbian couple or gay couple, whatever they decide as adults, good and well, right? I'm happy, they're happy, fine. But what I slightly disagree is they shouldn't force their teaching on my kid, which I worked hard. My missus went through let's talk about a business perspective. She went through nine months of labor. I went through trouble mentally, bringing him up. So I have the 1,000% how I want my kid to be, or right. how I want to give my understanding. End of the day, if he decides whatever he decide as an adult, as he grows up, and Islam says that's up to him. But I'm gonna try my best. I'm not gonna try somebody else to come in my house and say, "No, this is the way." Well, I will say I respect how you want to do, but you don't say that to my children. Now, this happened let's say it happened in school, and I said, "Look, we respect the teaching. That's completely fine. I'm not shy, or I'm not saying, oh no, astaghfirullah, what's going on here? No. That's their belief. But son, this is what we believe, and we work together. We live in a modern multicultural society. We believe and respect. We cannot say, oh, he's this, he's that. Because that's wrong. We cannot say he's this, he's X, Y, Z, he's male, female, whatever. We cannot say this, because as insan, if you think about it, think about this question, another bombshell. As a human being, our soul is not gentrified. Did you know that? Our soul, the ruh, is not male, it's not female, it's nothing.
Okay.
isn't it? So technically, when we go to Jannah, this gender thing only happens in this world. It doesn't happen in the next world.
So when you pass away,
Yeah, you know, whoever you are, you are.
and you're in the hereafter,
So whoever Allah
are you a
subhanahu-
gender after that?
Yeah, so obviously you so whatever Allah subhanahu gives a destiny. If you're a man, you're a man, isn't it? If you die, like Allah subhanahu gives you the rewards, you still fulfill it because you took them from this world. That's why you was, isn't it? So if he's a woman, you was a woman. There's a clear distinction between man and woman. Isn't it? But I'm saying this LGBT and community and big issue thing is only in this phase of this world, because even in this, they are seeking peace, but they're not getting it. Do you understand? So
This is the result of liberalism.
So before going there, we we're talking about family values. Look, so I had this heart to heart playing football, because you want to give examples, isn't it? There's no point telling 1965 this is what happened to my granddad. It's not useless. It doesn't matter. So when I explained to him, because I understand. So but I said to him, look, well, you're not allowed to pull fingers or make jokes, because that's completely wrong. Because as a human being, he's a human. You have to respect with the open respect.
Did
understand?
did you see that video where I can't remember where the school head teacher and teacher invited a Muslim boy to come in class and portray and show.
I think it was in a teacher. He was a teacher in Birmingham.
It was a boy,
Okay. I don't think I've seen that.
a young student, a boy, to come and tell the class that I'm Muslim and I'm gay, and the Quran doesn't say anything against me being gay.
Okay.
You know what I mean? The teacher and the head teacher did that.
Okay.
It's actually went
Okay.
viral last week or the week before.
Yeah.
But what was amazing more is that there were students who were giving very articulate answers back. You know what I mean? That we don't believe it. We don't believe. You can do what you want, be what you want, but this is what this is what I believe.
Okay, fair.
And the Quran does this. And those kids got really shouted at by the teacher.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, yeah, yeah.
You
I
see
think
that?
the investigation going on, the teacher was wrong. He shouldn't be, because
Of course.
if you genuinely believe
He
in-
even assumed he even implied the whole
terrorism thing.
9/11
Yeah, yeah.
bombing
That's out of order.
because you
Yeah.
guys.
yeah, yeah. So that just shows reality of what he was thinking. He just came out.
Yeah.
Because you only give time. There's a saying in the Imam Umar Ali mentioned that to know a person, either you travel with him or you spend time. In time, you realize how he is. One is intellectually speaking, one is speaking on a real level on the streets. Then you know, is this guy real or not? You know where I'm coming from. So, look, regarding this subject, it's not something new in Islam.
It's simple. It's simple.
No,
we
I'm
don't
saying-
believe in it. Do what you want. Don't enforce your ideas onto us. Just like we don't force our ideas into you.
No, I mean, there's a saying that we're teaching that Sheikh Ahmad Tabak mentions, and I put it on my course. He goes, live peacefully, peacefully, and let others live in peace. So
Yeah.
you live in peacefully, your neighbors, your society, let others, and that's it. Khalas, that's what Islam is. Sukoon and aram.
Yeah.
So and then, so regarding this issue, Imam al-Ghazali rahmatullah and other scholars have written volumes of book about this LGBT issue. It's not just recently. This is going for 14 years ago. We have classical books explaining different degrees of gender issues, different on kusra, different. There's plenty you find in books. It's not something that oh man, this is a 21st century. Oh my God, how do we answer all these questions? This is vast knowledge in Islamic books. Before this, they became famous.
Yeah.
So always we have to educate ourselves on how to, and you should be honest. You shouldn't shy off about it. And in fact, this creates more respect. If you're a man of principle, you shouldn't bend principles. You should be. That's what they call it. 5 pillars are not easily bent, because you think about it, the pillars, isn't it? You can't bend pillars because that's the foundation of Islam. So I think
I definitely agree with some of your thoughts, and probably as a method, because I believe, like how the Sahabas were, how the people of old were.
100%.
I think our society, right, is losing the meaning of honor, dignity,
100%.
integrity.
100%.
You know what I mean? I think we are creating.
But I think it's also
men
the same
who
time
are
it's
weak.
changing. It's
You know what I
changing.
mean?
It's changing.
We need to have people who have the ability to be formidable, but also think like a scholar.
Yeah, 100%. I think look, there's always spikes happen.
We need to have both
Right.
in one thing.
So there's always spikes, and remember this always, right? There's always one extreme happens, So if you look at Taliban and the whole what happened in Taliban and in the whole 20 years, 40 years, whatever happened,
I have no idea. We have no idea what happened.
yeah, fine. If you don't know, just Google.
Where do you get the information from?
So I'm saying whatever. Let's say hypothetically, what you're looking at online, social media, whatever. Let's say so. That's a one high. I'm talking about no. I'm not talking about the detail. I'm talking about to understand, to explain some. Look, there's two spikes happen always. One
Right.
spike is extreme,
Right.
whichever you look at it.
Yep.
Another extreme from a religious perspective. So you have two spikes, isn't it? So one you have anti-social, anti-religion, anti-everything, anti-God. That's one spike, isn't it? So they believe in la, no part. So from the kalima perspective, they only believe 50%, right? Because la ilaha illallah Muhammadur is the 100%, isn't it? From the religious perspective, they believe the other 50%. It is your job and my job to bring 50% into one in the middle. That's what
Who's
Islam.
the 50-50 here?
I'm not talking about me and you in
I know.
but that's what it is in the world. The two extremes in it. Whatever you look at it, either socially, mentally, physically, holistically, there's always extremism, and the extremism in anything is wrong. What Islam does, it brings it in balance.
Thing is, yeah, what it is, based on studies and what people say, yeah, not me. I'm just nobody. That us, say like 100 years ago, we were acting on Islam, praying namaz and these things. You know what I mean, we were not deemed as backwards, but because we've maintained our values and our traditions, and the world has gone so far ahead, whichever way it's gone, we have become fundamentalists, traditionalists, and really backward-minded people because we've stuck to our traditional values. So to apply that, right? To apply the extreme, you'll one day become the extreme, whatever you're doing. It doesn't actually matter.
So
The world will go one way, you'll be where you are, how you are, and one day you'll be deemed an extremist.
I mean, that's like, I mean, obviously, I don't agree with it. You know, I respectfully, agree to disagree. But I think if you live a modern, balanced life, doesn't matter if living in planet Mars.
What is a modern balanced life?
So, modern balanced life is like, for example, one of the way is you uphold the Islamic values, number one. For example, the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Prophet and companions, and you live by it, what you believe in, and at the same time you have the same values and respect of the society that you're living in. So live peacefully, live in peace.
What if you're not Muslim?
Live peacefully.
How do you live a modern life?
So if a person, let's put all the religion on one side. Forget the religion. Let's say we're human being, like human, yeah, and the other on the side, right? There are even in this country, in any country in the world you go to, there are certain humanistic values you have to uphold by, like don't steal.
Countries, yeah.
You know, don't do this.
There's laws.
There's laws in place, isn't it? So somebody asked. So before I go to this, somebody asked the question. Oh, non-Muslim asked the question. I don't believe in religion because your God says if you don't do this, you're going to go in hell. Listen to this example, right? Why, if God loves you so much, why does He want to put you in hell? And why the concept of hell comes from? Because if God loves you, this is the concept in it. Why should you go to hell? I said, look, I disagree with you. You show me where God says I'm going to go to hell. I'm going to throw you in hell. Quran or Bible or any scripture. Nowhere you will find categorically the set word that I will throw you in hell. There's no way. It's based on your reaction and condition of what you do. So I said to them, look at the example. Look, the prison system in this society, forget the religion. The guy is in prison, he didn't volunteer. I'm going to go to prison, isn't it? Nor did the judge say, right.
Let me check the camera.
Okay. So going back to what I'm saying, so look, it's about understanding holistically. Not like, you know, sometimes we become religious. We put a cap on religious cap. We think everything from a religious perspective.
Can't non-Muslims be traditional as well?
100%, they can be. So just to explain this, I was explaining about the prison system, explaining about why hellfire exists and why God says so I met this guy who's saying I don't believe in any religion because God emphasizes so much on if you don't do this, hellfire.
That's not the only answer, is it?
Yeah. No, this guy was saying, but that's one of the reasons why he doesn't believe.
That's one of the reasons.
Strong reason why he doesn't believe in any religion, because he thinks, why are people, famine happen, this happens, if God is so merciful? You know, like holistically of looking at it. So regarding hellfire, he was fascinated by hellfire. He read Bible, he read Quran. He's a historian type. I said, look, in this country, no one wants to go 5 years prison voluntarily, is it? Unless he's insane. That's a specific case. But generally, a human being doesn't want to confine himself in a cell just voluntarily.
He
Because I
committed
feel
crime.
like he committed crime, isn't it? Exactly. A judge voluntarily doesn't say, right, Mr. Tom, 10 years, in mate, in you go, on your bike, literally. Not because I'm a cyclist. He got right. That never happens. That'll be like Kukulan. All the law, no one's going to follow the law because the person only goes in prison because he's done something wrong. Isn't it? Person goes to prison because he committed murder, he did something obscene activity, he did this because of his own personal crime. Therefore, he goes to prison. Similarly, hellfire only example given because you're not following the life down the concept of Islamic laws and principles. Therefore, you brought that on yourself. Whereas 99.9% the whole Quran Allah talks about mercy, generosity, forgiveness is everywhere. Even they say that to the extent that if you lost a key, if you got £10 in his pocket, but you put it in the left pocket and you put your hand in, you go, oh, that few seconds of worry about I lost my money, and then you put it in the right pocket, just because of a few seconds you had the worry, Allah subhanahu rewards you. But what have you done? Think about it. Allah subhanahu rewards you because, oh my God, I lost my key. Then you go, oh, I found it in this pocket. Just because of discomfort of few seconds, Allah subhanahu goes, write 10 Ds for him. But as a human being, what have I done to Allah subhanahu to deserve this?
Right.
So look at the mercy from Allah subhanahu the point that he's created. So he created all these avenues, nafal, ibadah, this, to get me to paradise, isn't it? Or to get to a good place.
Right.
But it's me who's in
Got
the
you.
wrong.
Got you.
Inshallah.
So you do good, you go to paradise. You do bad, you go to hell.
In a high sense.
Obviously, that's the only way you see it.
Yeah.
That's the only way that is. It's a very simplistic term,
Yeah.
right?
I'm a simple guy.
Yeah, but the thing is, non-believers don't believe that. So how do non-believers who are traditional be modern at the same time? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That can be answered by our audience who are watching right now, and share your thoughts in the comments to see. Like, you know what I mean? This podcast today has been very much revolved around religion sort of mentality and putting a very Islamic sort of twist to it. But
On parenting as well.
it can be applied to your own life if you're not a Muslim. It can be applied. You could obviously pick and choose the good, which you think is best for you, and how to safeguard your children. Now, obviously, you may not believe all the things that we may uphold, like saving your kid from promiscuity or sex out of wedlock. That's fine. It's how you want to raise your children, but but we do strongly believe of but we want to protect our children, their mind from pollution, the mind from very negative thoughts or negative impact or negative influence by the media, social media, whatever it is. So we constantly worry about these things. We are constantly concerned about these things, and we're trying to find a solution where we can safeguard our children from being exposed to very, very negative influences. So that's what the case is. So and this is why myself and Noor are discussing. We may have different opinions and we may disagree on a lot of things. We definitely have the same concerns of safeguarding our children.
100%.
We may do it differently. We may agree on a lot of things as well.
100%.
We may also disagree on quite a few things, but we are leading towards the same path. Is to create a better community, is to create a better environment for our children, because we were brought up in a very certain mentality when we're young, but the world has been growing in a very different direction, in a very rapid speed, and it's harder for us to keep up in it. It's very hard to keep up to what are the current thoughts and mentality and the influences. It's very hard to keep up. So anyway, guys, I want to thank Noor.
Thank you,
You know what I mean,
exactly,
for coming. I really appreciate. You know what I
It's really
mean.
good that we spend time.
Yeah, man.
We do more. I think lastly, one thing like my teacher says that is that be fruitful whatever Allah subhanahu plants you.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the concept
Yeah.
of life. You don't have to be. I mean, if someone doesn't believe it, or if they uphold the peaceful way of living, inshallah, one day, he will find him and he'll
Cool,
be
man.
found.
That's a very good advice, man. I like your ethos. I like your mentality. I like how you sort of bring you apply that in your life as well.
Yeah.
And
Trying to,
I
anyway.
hope, yeah, exactly. I hope we all try. I hope you succeed. I hope your
We all do,
you and your
inshallah.
family and your sheikh and your whole organization is blessed
Inshallah.
with
Inshallah.
blessing of God
So I was
and
gonna add
Allah.
this to it, plug it in. I forgot which was on a practical level solution
Please go.
for the teenagers plus that you're saying the drug issues and the funding problem. We actually dedicated full time brothers and sisters voluntarily a website called propheticpath.co.uk. I'll share it with you. What that does is once a person registers and he's going through these issues
Yeah.
problem, you're assigned a mentor,
Right.
a man for man, woman for woman, and you can express your thoughts through chat, through call. It's confidential, and then you can express and you can grow together. So this is something.
So you have a whole system and
whole
process
system in place for
right?
5-6 years now.
What I'll do, I'll add the link to the
100%.
description below, and you can
check
all
it
go
out.
towards that. They have a very good system for anybody, for all walks of life, old, young, whatever background. They have a really good system, and I think
Because
if it works for you, then I think you should
Because
go
one of
for
the
it.
idea
Yeah?
behind this is, look, if I'm going through it, it's in Islam as a routine that if you're going through it, isn't it better to benefit yourself and others? Why keep it hidden? So like-minded people have come together.
Yeah.
About 50, 60 brothers and sisters mixed
Yeah.
all around the world. It's monitored 24 hours. And it hits about, I would say, 60 to 70,000 a month.
Yep.
Sometimes 800,000. It goes up and down. And it's free of charge. There's no cost. It's purely the intention is to benefit others. That's
Free
it.
of cost.
Free of charge.
Right, guys. Yeah, you heard it. Yeah, free of cost. Right, let's conclude it there.
Okay.
Yeah, guys. If you like this podcast and you've reached this far, that means you have definitely put up with our mentality. You put up with us. Yeah. Okay, and please like us and subscribe. And guys and girls and whoever you are out there, please share your thoughts. I want to know what you're thinking. I want to know what you're saying. I want to know what you're going through. I want to know what your concerns are, your struggles are. I want to know what's going on. You know what I mean? So get in touch. I will definitely reply back. I will try to get in touch and just leave a thought, suggestions, any ideas. Just get in touch. So like and subscribe, leave a comment, and guys, thank you very much for watching this podcast. See you later.
Assalamu alaikum.
There you go, mate.